Kyle, I know anytime we talk about the Titans, this almost becomes a very personal issue for you, mostly because you're consumed with being right or wrong on how mid the Titans really are as an organization. I try and balance you out, mostly because I've liked what the Titans have been over the last few years. But I think it's because I like Vrabel. I think I'm a Vrabel guy. So I almost have adopted them as like an underdog team that I root for in a way. I stick up for the Titans. I stand the Titans a little. But this year, especially losing the 7 straight games at the end, kind of like tough to really support the Titans towards the tail end. Had they had Ryan Tannehill stay healthy, I think they might have made it. When you're having to put Josh Dobbs out there in the win and in game, I think it was doomed from the start. Malik Willis, clearly not ready, probably will never be ready. So with the Titans, it's going to be a transformative offseason. They made some major coaching firings. Todd Downing, and I've been echoing that I think Todd Downing's been one of the biggest issues with this team. I don't know. What do you feel on the Titans? Do you think that at least making these moves is a good move for them?
Well, so first of all, let's address the point you brought up about my infatuation with the Titans. So for people who don't know, I had maybe the most right I've ever been was 2019 when I said that if they replaced Mariota with Tannehill when they were 2-5, that they would go to the playoffs. And not only did they go to the playoffs, they went to the AFC Championship. And then I said they shouldn't re-sign Derrick Henry, and I was very, very wrong about that. And then I passed on Derrick Henry in my fantasy league and finished in 7th place. And then I drafted Derrick Henry the next 2 seasons and won the championship the next 2 seasons. And then last year, of course, we well documented, we made jokes over and over and over again about how the Titans were frauds and they were the 6th best team in the AFC. I think at this point, I can just classify it as a kink. That's the best thing I can describe at this point. I know the Titans are dirty. I know they're stupid. I know they're mid, and yet I just can't stop myself from getting super emotionally invested in the Titans. So I don't know what it is at this point. The best I can describe it as is a kink for the Titans. But I would say that firing Todd Downing, probably the best move. Firing John Robinson, sounding short-sighted, but if you're going to trade AJ Brown and then fire your general manager, does that mean you're going to tear the whole thing to the ground, or does that mean you're going to run it back? There's so many interesting questions with the Titans. I'm sure we'll get to Tannehill at some point, but like you said, I mean, it's hard to stand for the Titans given how everything fell apart at the end of the season. Like I said it would when they were 5-2. I said they should trade Derrick Henry to maximize value. This is around the time Christian McCaffrey was about to get traded. But yeah, the Titans are kind of in this weird purgatory at this point.
Well, you look around the landscape of the AFC South, I don't think the Titans are completely out of it just yet. We did talk about Trevor Lawrence last week, and we thought that the pathway for the Jaguars to dominate this division is open, but I think the Titans still can pose problems. If Todd Downing, losing him, addition by subtraction, really works towards their benefit next year, then I could see this Titans team being back in that 9-10 win conversation because there is still talent on here. They were still able to generate a pass rush. Derrick Henry, I don't see the slowing down signs quite yet. There was a little bit of an odd fumbling issue that developed for Derrick Henry this year, but assuming that gets corrected, I could see the Titans being back. Their offensive line has issues. Ryan Tannehill, an average quarterback, but you can use an average quarterback to get you by when you have a solid running game like you do with Derrick Henry. When it comes to John Robinson, you mentioned that one. It does seem short-sighted, especially when we consider that his firing came the week after the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. That did seem like a direct A.J. Brown, you traded him, you're gone kind of move. But it also, in terms of the big picture, you did trade that guy, and that guy is still really good at playing football. I bet if you asked Vrabel 10 out of 10 times, he would say he would want that guy to be playing on his team and not against him. And yet that move still happened. So I'm sure that Mike Vrabel couldn't have been that satisfied with what the job that Robinson was doing in that respect, because Treylon Burks, hopefully he turns into something, but right now it's not a lot of anything. So I feel as though there may have been some conflict between the coach and the GM. Getting rid of Vrabel's coaching staff, this will be an interesting offseason for him. Like, who does he hire? Can Vrabel consistently find that guy? Because at least his first couple of years there, he did. When it comes to Arthur Smith, when it comes to Matt LaFleur, he was able to find that guy. Now that the organization seemingly forced his hand on making that move, can he go out there and get it? I'm surprised it took him this long. I knew Todd Downing was a bad hire 2 years ago. I'm mostly surprised it took this long to do it.
I genuinely don't know where the Titans go from here, because if you're going to tear this thing to the ground, there's a really great opportunity to do it this year. You can save $20 million by moving off of Tannehill right now. You can get out of that Robert Woods contract and have it not be terrible. You have the number 11 pick in the draft this year. Like, that's a very valuable piece. And the Cowboys got Micah Parsons with that pick. So like, you can do something really good with that. But
here's why I don't see that happening. Because if you look at the owner's comments after they fired John Robinson, she made it a point to say, the reason we're making this move is because you as tight end fans deserve better. We want to be competing at a higher level. This is part of a grander design. We want to be competing for championships. And I don't feel as though someone who has that type of mentality about being a competitor would find losing on purpose to be the way to go. And I don't think that Mike Vrabel as the coach, while he still has equity in this league, same guy that said he would cut his dick off to win a Super Bowl, I don't think that guy wants to be losing games on purpose either, because it would go counter philosophy to what he's been selling his players. And at a certain point, there's only so many coaches that can survive that, because Mike Vrabel eventually, he would have been there so long that going through a rebuild for 2-3 years, who knows if he comes out the other side by the time the Titans are quote unquote good again.
No, Vrabel wouldn't stick around if they made that call. It's just, what do you think the best direction of your organization is? New general manager who's about to get hired. Like, I assume when they hire a new general manager, they will give that general manager the autonomy to do what they want. It's not going to be a mandate from the owner that you have to do this. They could do that. That would be dumb to do that, because that's micromanaging your people. But I would say that, like, whatever the general manager decides. The one thing that I feel confident in saying, though, is I don't know what the Titans are going to do. If they want to run this offense, and if they keep wanting to do this the way that they have with Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill doesn't have to be the third highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which he was this last year. You don't have to do that. There are Teddy Bridgewaters, there are Jacoby Brissetts. You can get those options for like half the price or a third of the price of what we're seeing with Ryan Tannehill. And I know that's not a great idea, because they just went through that with Marcus Mariota a few years ago. But the Titans are in this really interesting position where I don't know what they do to make it better, but they have plenty of opportunities to do it. They have financial flexibility. They have really good players on that defense. We saw that in the Jaguars game and during some of the games of the losing streak. Not all the games, but some of the games of the losing streak. They were, just because their offense was totally constipated. They have the 11 pick in the draft. I don't know what they do, but they've got options.
Would be scared to move off Tannehill for, as you mentioned, Teddy Bridgewater, just for the fact that even though Tannehill the last couple of years has been down, and again, I blame Downing for a large part of that, I still feel as though Ryan Tannehill in his bag still has Ryan Tannehill from 2020. Ryan Tannehill from 2020 has never existed in Teddy Bridgewater's career. So it's like, we know that Tannehill has at least been able to do this in the past. Can he ever do it again is a question. I know that Teddy Bridgewater, based off his career, can't. I know that other quarterbacks that exist in Teddy Bridgewater's tier generally don't. I do think that Tannehill is a step above that. Yeah. Can he bounce back under new coaching? And you mentioned the financial impact. Unfortunately for the Titans, they're not in a position too where the younger draft pick is available, unless they want to go bonkers with this new GM hire and trade 4 or 5 first round picks or whatever it takes to get the Bears number 1 overall selection. And at that point, it's like, damn, do you just believe that Bryce Young is that guy? He's not touted as a Trevor Lawrence, but I guess if you do believe he's that guy, especially because you have the Texans at number 2, okay, at least you play keep away there too. But
Titans are in that classic position of, if a quarterback falls to them, take it, because I'm saying probably Will Levis, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. If one of them falls to 11, jump at the opportunity. If not, just take best player available. Whatever you value as the best player available, regardless of position, just take best player available in the draft. That's probably the best move. And with better health, maybe you can sneak out the AFC South title next year. And That's not a bad strategy at all. I mean, the Titans, I thought they were going to beat the Jaguars in week 17 and make the playoffs anyways. So even without Tannehill, I thought they were still good enough to get in. I don't think that's a long-term strategy for winning, but I don't know if the Titans can really do anything to compete in the AFC with 6 incredible quarterbacks all entering their primes. Like, I don't really know what the Titans can do to turn it around, but best bet would be this is the highest draft pick you're going to have, hopefully for a couple years. And if that's the strategy, just take best player available and maybe sign a couple pieces.
All right, guys. Well, Titans future, it looks bleak, but what do you think? Let us know in the comment section. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our social medias at SlumpBusterPod. From Juju and Kyle, stay safe, happy, and healthy. We will see you next time.